Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Awesome, and welcome to the Ryan Awesome Show. Now, today on the Ryan Awesome Show, we'll be talking about Impact Wrestling Under Siege 2021. So, yeah, this is the Impact Wrestling pay per view called Under Siege. And man, this pay per view, man, it felt like a filler show. It felt like nothing big had happened on the show. Besides the 6-way number one contenders match for the Impact World Championship, whoever won would have went up against Kenny Omega. That felt like the only big thing that came out of the show. But yeah, everything else it was championship matches, and you had some other matches on the show that it didn't even belong on the show that you should have just kept on Impact. But yeah, it was nothing but a filler show. It was a filler show. Not saying it was bad or anything. We had some great wrestling on this show, but it just felt like it was a filler show to me. Like nothing big came out of the pay per view besides that 6-way match. And so yeah, man. And so yeah, this is the Impact Wrestling review on the Ryan Awesome Show for Under Siege 2021. If you haven't done this already, man, what are you waiting for, man? Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell so you be the first ones to know when my next video will come out because I am here each and every single week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for all notifications so you don't miss out. And so yeah, man, we started off the show with a one-on-one match, and it was Brian Myers, the most professional wrestler. Brian Myers versus Black Taurus representing Decay, with Decay in his corner, Rosemary and Crazy Steve. And so yeah, man, with this match, really did not care about this match. Did not care about this match at all. You should have just kept this match on Impact and just left it at that. But yeah, this was not a pay-per-view match. So yeah, we had Black Taurus in the beginning of the match. He overpowered Brian Myers. And then we had a pump handle backbreaker to Myers, and then Myers had kicked out of the move. And then at one point, yeah, Myers, he got out of the ring and punched Crazy Steve in his face, to get the one up on Decay. And so, yeah, we had a suplex to Taurus, and he kicked out of the move. We had a belly to back suplex to Black Taurus, and he kicked out. And then Myers, he had took control of the match during that point. And we had a top rope twisting crossbody to Myers. So that was a very nice move by Black Taurus. Like a guy his size, man, moving like that, man, very impressive from him. And so yeah, so Taurus was fighting back. He had a rolling crucifix bomb to Myers, and he kicked out. And we had a shoulder breaker. We had a shoulder breaker to Myers, and he kicked out of the move. And we had an insecurity kick to Taurus. And we had a flatliner to Taurus, and Taurus had kicked out of the flatliner. And then at one point to end the match, we had Brian Myers. He had targeted Black Taurus' eyes. And at first we didn't see it, but they played it again on replay. So yeah, he targeted Taurus' eyes. And to end the match, we had Brian Myers. He hit his finishing move, that roster cut, that running clothesline to Black Taurus to win the match. So Brian Myers, he wins the match. And that was it with that. Did not care about the match. Still it was good. Both of these guys, they're great wrestlers and everything, but I did not care about this match. And plus, like the feud, man. Like why? Like why are they fighting? That's the question. That's the answer that we haven't even gotten yet. Why are they fighting? And so, yeah, the right person did win this match. Brian Myers deserved to win the match. He did win the match. So Brian Myers, he wins the match. He won the match, and rightfully so, man. Rightfully so, because he's been on a losing end. He's been on a losing end. It felt like lately, man. And he hasn't been doing much of anything. So giving Brian Myers the win was the right move by Impact. And so yeah, so I'm guessing that it's over because Brian Myers, he had beat Crazy Steve on Impact on Thursday, and now he beat Black Taurus tonight. So I'm guessing that the feud is over. But I see this feud keep. I see the feud continuing, but no, I don't want to see this. Like I don't want to see it to continue. I don't because we don't even know why they're fighting and what they're fighting for. And so this is what I'll do with Brian Myers. Since he beat Crazy Steve and he beat Black Taurus, I'll this is what I'll do with Brian Myers. I'll build him up. I'll build him back up, get him some wins, and send him after that X Division Championship. Send him after Josh Alexander, and have him fight over the X Division Championship. Hell, make him have him win the title, man. That's what I would do. And then we'll have Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona for the X Division Championship. I can see it going that way, man. But yeah, so yeah, that was it with the match. Really, really didn't care about the match. I'm glad that Brian Myers got his win, but still did not care about the match. And so yeah, right after that, we had another match. It was a tag team match. It was with the women. It was Susan and Kimber versus Taylor Wilde and Tenille Dashwood with Kaleb with a K in their corner. And so yeah, just like the Myers and Black Taurus match, I didn't care about this match either. Really didn't. And so yeah, we had double suplexes to Susan and Lee from Dashwood and Wilde, so they were teaming up at one point. And then we had Susan. She had tripped up Dashwood on the ring apron, so she hit her face on that ring apron. And so yeah, so we had kicks to Dashwood from Lee. We had a fisherman suplex to Susan from Wilde. And then at one point we had Susan. She had threw Tenille Dashwood into Taylor Wilde. And we had a superplex to Wilde from Susan. So Susan, she had a superplex on Taylor Wilde. And she went for the cover, but she put a foot on the rope. She put her foot on the rope, but the referee saw it. The referee saw her put the foot on the rope, and so the count doesn't count. And so yeah, we had a lot of foolery in this match too. We had Kaleb. He had hit Susan with a shoe. I think with his shoe behind the referee back, so the referee didn't see it. And then to end the match, we had a rolling German suplex to Susan to win the match. So we had Taylor Wilde hit a finishing with that rolling German suplex to win the match. So Tenille Dashwood and Taylor Wilde, they win the match. And that was it, man. That was it. Really didn't care about this match either. This match wasn't a pay-per-view match. Just like the last match, you should have just put it on Impact. That's just me. Put it on Impact. Like, only the most important matches belong on pay-per-views. This match did not need to be on a pay-per-view. Like, it really didn't. And so, yeah, and then we had too many interferences in this match. I don't like a match where there's too many interferences. It just takes away from the match. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, so they basically cheated. Tenille Dashwood and Taylor Wilde, they cheated to win the match, but Taylor Wilde, she doesn't know that they cheated. That the team that they cheated. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that, we had Sami Callihan. We had a vignette from Sami Callihan to draw Sami Callihan. He had spoke, and he was talking about the six-way match, the main event that he's in, and he was talking about that he carried this company on his back, and that he will win the six-way match and take back a title that he never should have lost, the Impact World Championship. And that was it with Sami Callihan. So Sami Callihan is stating his claim for the Impact World Championship. And so yeah, right after that we had a match, another match. It was for the tag team. It was the tag team number one contenders triple threat. Well, not a triple threat match. It was 4 teams, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It was 4 teams, right? So it wasn't a triple threat match. It was a number one contenders match. So whoever won the match would have been number one contenders for the Impact tag team titles. And so the teams were Ace Austin and Madman Fulton versus XXXL, that's Larry D, and Acey Romero versus Rohit Raju, and Shera versus TJP and Petey Williams. And so yeah, just like the last 2 matches, this match did not need to be on the show either. You should have saved this on Impact Wrestling. But yeah, so yeah, we had a brawl had broke out with all teams, and we had a running senton to Fulton from Romero, which had to hurt, man. And Fulton had kicked out. So Acey Romero is a big freaking dude. He is a big dude, and he landed on Fulton. And so yeah, we had a double hip toss to Raju from Williams and TJP. So they were teaming up in this match. And so yeah, we had a series of submission moves to Raju from TJP. And so we had a swinging neck breaker to Raju from Williams. And then Shera, he had took out TJP with a clothesline from the ring apron. And then Raju and Shera, they worked on TJP during that point. We had a big boot to TJP from Fulton, and then Fulton had kicked out. I mean, not Fulton, TJP had kicked out. And so, yeah, we had a double team move to TJP from Austin and Fulton, so they were teaming up. And then TJP had fought back. He had a tornado DDT to Austin. And so we had a springboard code breaker to Austin from Williams. And so we had a pop-up power bomb to Austin from Petey Williams. And then at Triple XL, they had took out Madman Fulton. And we had a running corner boot to Austin from TJP. And so yeah, we had a swinging DDT to Austin from Raju. And then Austin had fought off, Raju and all these other guys. Man, this match was all over the place. It really was. And so yeah, we had Triple XL. They had took out Raju and Austin. And then Fulton had took out Triple XL. And so the end of the match, we had Fulton. He had the end of days, so it was a version of the end of days to Larry D. And so to follow that off, we had Ace Austin. He had jumped off of Fulton's back and hit a splash on Larry D to win the match. So Ace Austin and Madman Fulton win the match and are the #1 contenders for the Impact Tag Team title. So they'll be going up against Finjuice if they're still champions. So Finjuice. So it's gonna be Finjuice versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Really good match. Really good match. I would have saved it for Impact Wrestling. That's just me. I would have just saved it for Impact Wrestling. You know, because this wasn't a pay-per-view match. It wasn't built up as a pay-per-view match. This wasn't built up in weeks. The match just came out of nowhere, man. It really did. The match came out of Impact. Like the match was made on Impact. They made it. It was a last-minute match that was added on the show. So instead of just putting it on this show, instead of just putting it on Saturday, why not just put it on next Thursday? You would have gave the viewers a reason to watch Impact. But yeah, but yeah. At first, I was going with TJP. I was going with TJP and not Ace Austin, TJP and Petey Williams to win the match. That's what I was going with because you know how some of these wrestling companies they push makeshift tag teams, and so I thought I was gonna give it to TJP and Petey Williams because just because of that, you know. And a Finjuice versus TJP and Petey Williams, it would have been a great match. Would have been a great tag team match. But yeah, man. But yeah, I thought they were gonna win the match. That's what I don't know what it was. I just thought that they were gonna win the match. But yeah, but the only legit team in this match was Triple XL. So we all know Triple XL wasn't gonna win the match. Triple XL, they are jobbers. All they done was lose. They lose all the time. Every single match that they're in, every single tag team match that they're in, they always lose. So I knew for a fact Triple XL wasn't gonna win. But yeah, but Triple XL, they were the only legit tag team in this match. While everybody else, are is associated with each other. They're not legit tag teams. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, they're not legit. They're not a tag team. They're just associated with each other. Rohit, Raju, and Shera associated with each other. TJP and Petey Williams, not a legit tag team, a makeshift tag team. Triple XL was the only legit tag team in this match. And so yeah, man. My question is, why wasn't Violent by Design in this match? Why wasn't Violent by Design in this match? Like any member of Violent by Design, you could have done Doring, you could have done Joe Doring and Diener, you could have done Rhino and Diener, or you could have done Joe Doring and Rhino. That's the pairing I would have picked in Violent by Design. And of course you can't pick Eric Young because Eric Young is hurt. You can't pick Eric Young. But yeah, if I had to choose like a pairing in Violent by Design to go after those tag team titles, I'm going with Joe Doring. Going with Joe Doring, Big Man Joe Doring, and Big Man Rhino. The two big guys in Violent by Design. I would have went with those guys to vie after those tag team titles. You know, that should be Violent by Design's main goal. Not only get rid of the sickness, but to take all the gold, take all the championships in Impact Wrestling. That should be their goal. But yeah, that was it with that. That was it with the tag team #1 contenders match. Really good match, but I would have just saved it for Impact Wrestling. Would have just saved it for Impact Wrestling. And so yeah, right after that, man, we had a backstage interview, and it was Gia Miller. She interviewed Fire and Flava. That's Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan. And so yeah, so they were talking about their match against Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering. And they were continuing to talk about Jordynne Grace, saying that she's the weak link of the team. And the only reason why she won the tag team titles was because of Rachel Ellering and all that stuff. And Fire and Flava, they basically said that they were gonna win their tag team titles back. That they will win their tag team titles back. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that we had a match, and it was W Morrissey versus Willie Mack. And so yeah, so to start off the match, we had Mack. He had went right after Morrissey, went right after him, pounding on this guy, beating him down. And so yeah, we had we had an explosive shoulder tackle to Mack, and then Willie Mack, he was fighting back, hitting elbow strikes on Morrissey, and we had a big boot to Willie Mack through the rope. So he was draped on the rope, and so Morrissey he had a big boot. He had a big boot on Mack. He had a big boot on Mack to knock him outside of the ring. And so when he got knocked out of the ring, he landed on his neck. So that was a nasty spot right there. And so yeah, Morrissey he had threw Mack into the ring post. And so yeah, so Morrissey had took control of the match during that point. And then Mack tried fighting back, but it wasn't working. And so yeah, we had a series of elbow drops to Mack in the back of his head. And so we had a short arm. We had a short arm clothesline to Mack, and then Mack had kicked out. And so we had clotheslines to Morrissey, and Morrissey is still standing up. And so Willie Mack, he had a spinning kick on Morrissey. And then he had a corner splash to Morrissey, and so that knocked him down. And so yeah, we had a diving clothesline to Morrissey, and he kicked out at 1. Not 2, 1. He kicked out at 1. And so Willie Mack, he cannot believe it. He cannot believe that this guy kicked out at 1. And so to end the match, or towards the end of the match rather, we had our East Rivers crossing to Willie Mack. But yeah, so that's Morrissey's finisher, that East Rivers crossing, that boss man slam or whatever the heck you want to call it. But he did not go for the cover. Morrissey does not go for the cover. And so, but instead he hit a big boot in the back of Willie Mack's head. And so to win the match. So Morrissey wins the match, and after the match, Morrissey, he continued to beat down Willie Mack. So he beat down Willie Mack. And so Morrissey, he had went outside of the ring, went under the ring. Now, he didn't go under the ring. He went ringside and grabbed the chair that was at ringside near the timekeeper's area. The timekeeper's area, he grabbed the chair, brought it into the ring, and he wanted to use the chair against Mack. And so, yeah, right out of nowhere, you had Rich Swann. His theme music played, and he ran out to the ring. I don't know why his theme music needed to play. Just run out to the ring. But yeah, his theme music hit. He ran out to the ring, and he fought off W. Morrissey. He had fought off W. Morrissey, and that was it. That was it with that. It was good. W. Morrissey, dominant win from W. Morrissey, and a big win for W. Morrissey because he just beat a former X Division champion in Willie Mack. So that's a big win for him. And so, and I have one question though. I have one question. Will it be since Rich Swann got involved in this? Will it be a tag team match? Will it be Willie Mack and Rich Swann versus W. Morrissey and Enzo Amore? Enzo Amore, is Enzo Amore gonna come back to wrestling? And will he team up with W. Morrissey, his former tag team partner? Will it happen? I don't know. The only reason why I asked was because Rich Swann, when he had fought off W. Morrissey, he had did Enzo Amore's taunt. That move that he does, like when he does this and stuff. He did that to W. Morrissey, so he was taunting him. And so that's the one that's why I asked the question. That's the one thing that came to my mind. Enzo Amore. But yeah, I doubt it though. I doubt it. I don't think Enzo Amore is gonna come back to wrestling. I think he's gonna focus on his music career. But yeah, is he gonna tag team with Enzo, or is W. Morrissey will be going after a championship, whether that's the X Division championship or the Impact World Championship? I wouldn't send him after the World Championship. I'll send him after the X Division Championship. That's just me. Because I'm telling you, man, nobody's beating Omega. Nobody's beating Omega. No matter who you put in the ring, nobody's beating Omega. And so yeah, that was it with the match. That was it with the match with W. Morrissey and Willie Mack. Dominant win from Morrissey. And so yeah, right after that, we had a match, a tag team match, and it was with the women again. But this time it was for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And it was Fire and Flava, that's Kiera, Hogan, and Tasha Steelz versus Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering, who are the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And so yeah, we had Fire and Flava. They attacked Grace and Ellering from behind. We had a spine buster to Hogan from Ellering. I love me a good spine buster. And so we had a gut wrench suplex to Hogan 3 times. We had a gut wrench suplex to Hogan 3 times. Grace did. She had a gut wrench suplex to Hogan 3 times, and Hogan had kicked out. And we had chops to Hogan from Ellering. And so we had a running senton to Hogan from Rachel Ellering. It was kind of sloppy because yeah, either she botched it or it was sloppy because because she when she hit the move, she landed right on Hogan's legs, on her knees or whatever it was on her legs. And so yeah, they played it up on commentary saying that that she got her knees up and everything, or she tried to get her knees up but didn't get it up in time. And so yeah, we had a neck breaker to Ellering from Hogan, and we had chops to Ellering from Steelz. So she chops Ellering, and so Steelz, she was talking trash to both Grace and Ellering, and so the Hills, they had took control of the match at that point, and we had an assisted stomp to Ellering from Fire and Flava, and we had a cutter to Steelz from Ellering, and then Hogan, she had took out Grace, and then she followed up with a running corner dropkick to Ellering. And so yeah, we had a clothesline to Hogan from Ellering, and we had a hot tag to Grace. She took out Steelz. She body slammed Steelz over and over and over again. And we had a Michinoku driver to Steelz from Grace. That was a nasty one too, a wicked one. Like when she hit Steelz with that Michinoku driver, man, she landed right on her head, man. So that had to hurt. And so yeah, we had a cold breaker to Ellering from Tasha Steelz, and we had a spine buster to Steelz from Grace. And we had a DDT. We had a DDT to Jordynne Grace from Kiera Hogan, and we had a running corner elbow to Steelz from Grace. And so we had Jordynne Grace try to go for the Vader bomb, but Hogan had stopped Grace. And so we had a slice bread number 2 to Rachel Ellering from Kiera Hogan outside the ring. And to end the match, we had a frog splash. We had a frog splash to Jordynne Grace from Tasha Steelz to win the match. So Fire and Flava, they win the match and are the new Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And so yeah, that was it with that. But yeah, the match, it did start it off slow, but it did pick up towards the end. But I don't know why they gave the titles back to Fire and Flava right after they lost the titles to Rachel Ellering and Jordynne Grace. Like dude, it didn't make any sense. Like if you were like if Fire and Flava was gonna win their titles back, what was the point of taking it off of them? If they were gonna win the titles back, what was the point of taking it off of them? Like, dude, it didn't make any sense. Like, you just hot potato in the championship. You just moving the championships back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They never should have lost the titles. Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering never should have lost the titles. First off, Jordynne Grace. I mean, first off, yeah, Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan never should have lost the titles when they first lost it. They never should have lost those titles. Only to win them back from the same people that beat them for the titles. Like, dude, like what good is that gonna do for anybody if you just trading back and forth the championships? It's not gonna do good for nobody. And so yeah, but yeah, Jordynne Grace, yeah, that should have been the move. That should have been the right outcome. It should have been the right, like it should have been the only outcome that you should have made was having them retain the titles. That should have been the only thing that you should have done. Had them retain the titles. But yeah, I would have had Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering win the match just to stick it to Fire and Flavor because they've been harassing her week after week after week, saying that she was the weak link. And you could have just gave Jordynne Grace the pin. You should have just gave her the pin. Should have had Jordynne Grace pin one of them to prove that she's not the weak link. But look who got pinned. The thing is, who got pinned? Jordynne Grace got pinned. So that proves that she is the weak link because she lost. She got pinned in the match. She's the reason why they have no championships because she lost. She got pinned in the middle of the ring. And so yeah, so yeah, they will get their rematch. Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering, they will get their rematch because in Impact Wrestling you have an automatic rematch clause. So they will get their rematch and they will lose again. That's just me. They will lose again. It's not gonna make any sense to have them win again. I mean, yeah, it's not gonna make any sense to have them win back their championships right after they just lost it on Saturday. Like that would have been extra stupid. So just have them lose just have them lose their rematch, losing their rematch, and just have Jordynne Grace turn on her partner. I guess that's what I would do probably. You know, or if she can't like just have her be frustrated at her partner saying that we can't do like dude, I can't do this. Just have her turn on our partner. You know, just have her turn on our partners. Like right after they lose, right after they lose, just have her turn on her partner. Just out of frustration, because she's frustrated with everything, because she keep losing and losing and losing. Just have her turn on her partner just based off of that. But yeah, that's where I see it going. Jordynne Grace turning heel. I think that's the end goal. Jordynne Grace turning heel. Because I don't think we had never seen her as a heel. So we might see her as a heel, as the months go by, because she did re-sign with the company. And so yeah, that was it with that. It was a good match. It did start off slow in the beginning. It wasn't all that interesting in the beginning, but towards the end, it gotten good at the end. And so yeah, that was it with the match. And so yeah, right after that, we had a backstage segment, and it was the Swingers Palace. We had the Swingers Palace, and so yeah, we had XXXL. They had came into the Swingers Palace trying to make a bet on the main event, and they wanted to make a bet on the main event, and so Johnny Swinger he had made fun of XXXL, saying that why you want to bet so you'll lose again, so that you can lose again, and so XXXL they were upset, they were offended by what Johnny Swinger had said about them, and so yeah, and so XXXL had insulted Johnny Swinger, saying that the only reason why you were ever a tag team champion in your career was because your tag team partner had carried you. And so that made Johnny Swinger upset. And so Johnny Swinger he had ordered Hernandez to kick out XXXL out of the Swingers Palace. And so Hernandez had kicked them out. So they got kicked out of the Swingers Palace, and that was it. And so yeah, right after that we had another match, and it was for the X Division Championship. And so the challenger we had El Phantasmo from New Japan Pro Wrestling representing the Bullet Club versus Josh Alexander, the walking weapon. Josh Alexander, who is the X Division champion. And so yeah, so both of these guys they tried to out wrestle each other, and Alexander of course got the better of it. And so we had a bow and arrow submission move to Alexander, and Alexander he had countered it. He had countered the move, and it turned it into something else. And so we had a jumping knee to Alexander, and we had a power slam to Phantasmo. And so Josh Alexander he tried to go for his finishing move, that divine intervention, that double underhook power driver. But Phantasmo he saw, he thought the better of it, and he escaped the move. And so we had a backbreaker to Phantasmo. And so we had Phantasmo, he had went up the top rope, not the top rope, he went on I guess the top rope. He was walking on the top rope, bouncing off the top rope, and he hit Alexander with a head scissors. And so Phantasmo, he tried to play up to the crowd, but there wasn't no crowd. Like in Impact Wrestling, there's no crowd. They have piped in crowd noises, and so he tried to play up to the crowd, saying one more time because he hit a move on him. And so yeah, I thought that was funny. And so yeah, so at one point they were fighting outside the ring, and we had Alexander. He had chopped the ring post, because he tried to chop Phantasmo, but Phantasmo had moved out of the way. He had moved out of the way, and Alexander ended up chopping the ring post, so that the hand is injured, quote unquote injured. And so Phantasmo he had targeted the hands and the fingers, and he starts biting the fingers. So the hands was the focus of the match. And so Phantasmo he had walked up the top rope again, showing off. And then Alexander had caught him and hit him with a fireman's carry senton bomb. And so yeah, so both of these guys they were going back and forth for strikes. And we had a big boot to Phantasmo. And then we had Josh Alexander, he had locked in the ankle lock. And we had a springboard crossbody to Alexander from Phantasmo. And so he followed it up with a lion salt. And then Alexander had kicked out of the move. And we had a torture rack neckbreaker. And then Alexander had kicked out of the move. And so we had Alexander hit a backbreaker to Phantasmo. And we had Alexander again going for that ankle lock. And Phantasmo, he escapes the move again. And we had a German suplex to Phantasmo. And we had Josh Alexander hit his signature move, that crossbody through the ropes to Phantasmo to knock him out of the ring. And then we had Phantasmo, he had tripped up Alexander on the top rope. So they were fighting at the top rope, and Phantasmo had tripped him up. And we had an avalanche. We had an avalanche hurricanrana to Josh Alexander. And we had a beautiful top rope splash to Josh Alexander, and he kicked out. And they were going back and forth with signature moves, trying to reverse each other's moves and everything. And we had a jackknife cover to Alexander, and then Alexander had kicked out. So that was a really close one. That was a close one. He would have lost that championship right there. And so yeah, so we had an ankle lock to Phantasmo. So Josh Alexander still not giving up, still trying to go for that ankle lock. And so we had a power bomb. We had a power bomb to into a backbreaker to Phantasmo. And to end the match, we had Josh Alexander went for the ankle lock again. He locked it in, and Phantasmo taps out. So Josh Alexander wins the match and is still the X Division champion. And so yeah, that was it with that. The match, it was a good match. It was a great match, but the match it felt like it went too long. It felt like it went too long. That's just me. I don't know how y'all felt about it, but me it felt like it went too long. But yeah, the right person did win the match. You know, the right person did win the match. Josh Alexander won the match and retained his title. And you know, it was too early. It was too early for Phantasmo getting a championship match, anyways. But at first, I did see them put the championship on Phantasmo since he's the new guy. But I didn't want that to happen because Josh Alexander he just won a championship, so it wouldn't have been fair. It wouldn't have been fair for them to take the title off of Josh Alexander just to put it on some outsider from New Japan Pro Wrestling. That like that would it wouldn't have made no sense. And so yeah, so I'm glad that they went with Josh Alexander to retain his title. I really am. And so yeah, who's next for Josh Alexander? I don't know. Maybe somebody else. You know, maybe a Brian Myers, maybe with W Morrissey or anybody else. But yeah, man. So yeah, the right person did win the match, and that was Josh Alexander, and that was it with the match. And so yeah, right after that, we had a backstage interview. We had Gia Miller. She interviews Finjuice, who are the Impact Tag Team Champions. That's David Finlay and Juice Robinson. And she also interviewed Eddie Edwards, who are their tag team partners. And so yeah, so they were talking about their six-man tag team match later tonight against the Good Brothers and Omega. And so yeah, they were hyping each other up. And yeah, they were talking about Omega and the Good Brothers and all that stuff, saying that the Good Brothers they work for Impact Wrestling, but are they really Impact Wrestling? Because they've been, you know, going behind our backs and all that stuff. And then they said that they will beat the Elite tonight. They will beat Omega and the Good Brothers tonight. And so that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that we had another match, and it was for the Impact Knockouts Championship. And it was Havoc versus Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, who is the Impact Knockouts champion, with Kimber Lee and Susan in her corner. And so yeah, we had a pump kick to Havoc. So yeah, so Deonna Purrazzo she tried to end this match early. And so yeah, she had a pump kick to Havoc, and Havoc was still standing up. And so yeah, Havoc she used her power, she used her strength, so she started throwing Purrazzo around. And so yeah, we had a corner splash. We had a corner splash to Purrazzo, and then Lee and Susan they tried to get involved in the match. And then Purrazzo she had targeted Havoc's hand and fingers, and she targeted the arm to set up for that Fujiwara armbar. And so we had a lariat to Purrazzo she kicked out, and a spinebuster to Purrazzo. And so we had Havoc she had locked in a submission move, the Boston Crab, to Purrazzo, but Purrazzo she had grabbed the rope. And so Lee and Susan they tried to get involved in the match again, but Havoc had took them out. That's the one thing I don't like about these matches, too much interferences. And so yeah, we had a knee strike to Purrazzo, and we had a corner running boot to Purrazzo, and we had a corner pump kick to Havoc. And to end the match, we had Deonna Purrazzo. She had locked in her finishing move, her submission move, the Fujiwara armbar, to Havoc to win the match. So Havoc had tapped out. So therefore, Deonna Purrazzo wins the match and is still the Impact Knockouts champion. So yeah, that was it. That was a good match. You know, dominant win from Deonna Purrazzo, making Havoc tap out. So that's why I say it's a dominant win, because Havoc is a threat. She is like a threat in that women's division, and she made Havoc tap out. And so my question is, who is next, man? Who is next? Who is next for Purrazzo, man? I don't know, man. I don't think I said this time and time and again. I don't think nobody is beating Deonna Purrazzo. Nobody. 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 And so yeah, so who's next? Maybe Taylor Wilde. Probably. I think she's next. That's what I think. She's next. And you know, but yeah, the one thing like I didn't like about this match It's too much interferences in this match. Too many interferences. Like, I understand she's a heel and everything, and she got her goons by her side, but they should not be interfering all the times. Maybe just once, maybe one time. Maybe you should interfere one time, maybe one time, but not 2 times, not 3 times, not 5 times. Maybe just one time, and make the interference. Like, the one thing is, dude, you gotta make it. You gotta make the interference at the right time. You gotta make it at the right time. Like one shot, you only got one shot to make things right. You gotta do it at the right time, and that should only be one time. You know. But yeah, it like it just would have made it just would have played out better, man. If you just would have had one interference, but not two or three, man. And so yeah, that was it with the match. The right person did win this match. Deonna Purrazzo won the match, and yeah, Deonna Purrazzo, man, I'm telling you, nobody's beating her. Just like Kenny Omega, nobody's beating Omega, nobody's beating Deonna Purrazzo, and nobody is beating none of these dominant champions in the wrestling world, in the professional wrestling business. Nobody. But yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that, we had a tag team match. We had a 6-man tag. And so yeah, we had FinJuice, who are the Impact Tag Team Champions. That's David Finlay and Juice Robinson, and Eddie Edwards versus the Elite. That's the Good Brothers. That's Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and Kenny by God Omega, who is the AEW World Champion and is the Unified Impact World Champion, with Don Callis, the Invisible Hand, in his corner. And so yeah, so Don Callis, he had came out. So first off, the Good Brothers had came out, and then Don Callis, his theme music had hit. He came out, the Puppet Master, and so yeah, and so he waited for Omega to come out, and so Omega had came out. His theme music played, and so Don Callis, he did like a voiceover over Kenny Omega's theme music, hyping up Omega, the best bout machine, you know, just saying all his accolades and all that stuff. Like, he was kind of like a personal ring announcer. That's what he was. So I love that. I love it. And so yeah, so that was it with the introductions and everything. And so yeah, to start the match, we had FinJuice. They had targeted Anderson's arm. So FinJuice, they were giving out quick tags, and they were targeting the arms. And so we had jabs to Gallows from Juice. And so yeah, so Juicy tried to follow that up with a left hand from Guide, but Gallows had reversed it, turning it into an uppercut. And so we had a jumping senton bomb. The commentary team said it was a squatting senton bomb to Carl Anderson. And so yeah, we had an overhead belly to belly suplex to Omega from Edwards. And so yeah, so FinJuice again targeting this time Omega's arm. And so we had a double bulldog to Omega from FinJuice. And then at one point we had Anderson. He accidentally took out Gallows. At one point they tried to take out one of the members of FinJuice, but they ended up taking out each other by accident. And so we had a basement dropkick to Juice Robinson from Omega. And so yeah, we had Omega. He targeted Juice's back. And so at that point, the Elite Dad took control of the match. And so we had a belly to back suplex to Anderson from Juice. So Juice is trying to fight back, trying to create some space. And so we had a hot tag to Finlay. And then Finlay had took out Anderson. And he took out Omega and Gallows. And he had a diving European uppercut to Anderson. And so yeah, so we had body blows to Finlay from Gallows. So they slowed down Finlay. And so we had a diving crossbody to Gallows from Finlay. And we had another hot tag. We had a hot tag to Edwards. He took out the Gut Brothers. And then he chops, Edwards, he had chopped Omega over and over again, like rapid chops. And we had a Blue Thunder Bomb. I love that move. The Blue Thunder Bomb. He had the Blue Thunder Bomb to Kenny Omega. And Omega kicks out in the move. And so the Good Brothers, they had took out FinJuice. And we had a Tiger Bomb. We had a Tiger Bomb to Omega from Edwards, and he kicked out. And we had a European uppercuts from everybody. And so we had a V trigger. We had a V trigger to Juice Robinson from Kenny Omega out of nowhere. And yeah, Juice Robinson, he's still trying to go for his jabs again, but Omega had caught him with a V trigger. And so we had a Snapdragon suplex to Edwards. And we had the Elite, they went for their signature move, that triple splash, when one guy gets on another person's back, when they're on a piggyback ride or something like that, and they splash their opponents. And so yeah, so we had the Good Brothers, they try to hit the Magic Killer on Edwards, but Finlay had stopped it. And so yeah, so both of these teams back and forth were going back and forth with signature moves, hitting their signature moves. And so we had a TKO. We had a TKO to Edwards from Anderson, and he kicked out. And so Eddie Edwards, to end the match, we had Eddie Edwards. He had his finishing move, the Boston Knee Party. The Boston Knee Party to Carl Anderson to win the match. So Eddie Edwards and Finjuice win the match. And that was it. And I was shocked that they won the match. I thought they were going with the Good Brothers, the Elite, since they're, I guess, since you have Omega as the champion. But yeah, but it wasn't Omega that got pinned. It was Anderson that got pinned. You could not pin Finjuice. You couldn't pin those guys. The only person that I did see getting pinned on Finjuice's team was Eddie Edwards, since he's a non-champion. But yeah, yeah, I don't know why I don't know how they like why they won the match. I don't know. I guess just to give the good guys a win. I guess I don't know. But I would have went with Omega and the Good Brothers to win the match. But yeah, but the match, the match was good. At first it started off slow. Like I wasn't interested in the beginning of the match, but when everything picked up towards the beginning, like not the beginning, towards the middle and the end, that's when everything got interesting. And it felt like that for most of these matches too. And so yeah, right after that, we had the main event, which was the best match on the show for me. The best match on the show and the only match that I was interested in. That I was interested in. That 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 was the takeaway for me. Was this match, the six-way match. And so it was a six-way number one contenders match. And the winner would be going up against Kenny Omega for the Impact World Championship. And so yeah, this was the match I was looking forward to, man. Looking forward to. And so yeah, it was Sami Callihan to draw. The draw, Sami Callihan versus Chris Bay versus Always Ready, Matt Cardona versus Trey Miguel versus Chris Sabin versus Moose. And so yeah, we had everyone. They tried to take out Moose because he's the bigger person and he's the threat to everybody. And so they took out Moose. They tried to take out Moose, like gang up on Moose, but Moose had took out everybody. He took out everybody. And so he had a fallaway slam to Miguel. And so we had super kicks to Moose from Sabin and Bay. So they team up against Moose. And then right after that, we had Bay and Sabin. They went back and forth. And so we had a drop kick. We had a drop kick to Sabin from Bay right in the kisser. He squared him right in his face with that drop kick. And so we had a shotgun drop kick to Bay from Miguel. And so yeah, we had a Death Valley driver to Miguel from Sami Callihan, a wicked one at that. And so we had a basement drop kick to Moose from Cardona. And we had Tope Conhilos from Miguel and Bay on everybody that was outside the ring. And we had a power bomb. We had a power bomb to Bay on the ring apron from Sami Callihan. And so yeah, so everybody was going back and forth with, brawling each other. And so we had a coast to coast to Chris Bay from Trey Miguel. And we had a corner drop kick. We had a corner drop kick to Chris Sabin from Moose. So that was really impressive, man. Seeing a guy his size, man, Moose's size, hitting a drop kick, man, just proves how great he is, man, in the ring. Moose is a big dude, and he should not be moving like that. He should not be moving like a cruiserweight. Dude, he is so freaking good, man, Moose is. And so, yeah, we had a drop kick to Bay from Moose while Bay was on the top rope. And so, yeah, we had a superplex to Trey Miguel from Moose, an explosive one, too. An explosive one. Like, the way that he landed on that mat, man, like, dude, it sounded like a gunshot. And so, yeah, to follow that up, we had, so right after Moose hit the superplex on Miguel, we had Chris Bay. Chris Bay had a beautiful frog splash on Moose. And then Sami Callihan broke the pin up with a chair, so he used the chair against Chris Bay, which is a legal move. No disqualifications. And so yeah, we had an exploder suplex. We had an exploder suplex to Chris Bay from Sami Callihan on a sitting chair. So he sat up a chair in the ring, and right after that, man, he went through the chair, and so the chair is bent. And so we had Cardona. He hit the broski boot to Sami Callihan, and we had a DDT flatliner combo to Sami Callihan and Matt Cardona from Chris Sabin. And we had Moose. He had a discus clothesline. He had a discus clothesline to Trey Miguel. I love the discus clothesline, paying homage to Mr. Brody Lee. And so, yeah, we had a radio silence to Moose from Matt Cardona. And so right after that, we had Sami Callihan. He had gave Mack Cardona a low blow, and so he tried to hit his finishing move. So Sami Callihan tried to capitalize on it and try to hit his finishing move, that package power driver. But you had Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers, came out and attacked Sami Callihan. So again, no disqualifications, anything goes. And so yeah, the Good Brothers, they took out Callihan, and so Chris Sabin, he hit a cradle, it looked like a cradle Michinoku driver to Matt Cardona, and so Sabin, he had went for the cover, but Moose, he had grabbed the referee. He had grabbed the referee that was inside the ring. He grabbed him and dragged him out of the ring. So that stopped the count. That stopped the count. And so Chris Sabin, he had saw it, and so he had gave Moose a tope suicida. And so yeah, so Moose and Sabin, they were going back and forth. And so Moose, he had chop blocked Sabin on his leg, you know, playing up that he had an injury a while ago on, I think, his knee area or at the ACL or something like that. So Moose, he had targeted the leg. And so right after that, to end the match, we had Moose, he had his finishing move, the spear, to Chris Sabin to win the match. So Moose wins the match and is the #1 contender for the Impact World Championship. And so yeah, that was it with the match. Really great match. Really great match. The best match on the show for me. And I was going with Sami Callihan to win the match. Like at first, I was saying is either Moose or Sami Callihan, and I went with Sami Callihan because he's the babyface. I guess no, he's not a babyface. Well, I guess he's being portrayed as a babyface, but he ain't no babyface. And so yeah, they needed a babyface to go up against Omega, and so Callihan is much more believable in being a babyface than Moose. Moose is a heel. And so yeah, I was going with Callihan based off of what he said about Kenny Omega and his encounter with Don Callis, saying that he was gonna go after Omega. Saying that you don't know when I'm gonna go after Omega. You ain't gonna know where I'm gonna beat up Kenny Omega, but I'm coming after Kenny Omega and what is rightfully mine is the Impact World Championship. So I thought they was gonna give it to Sami Callihan, but they ended up screwing Sami Callihan over. They screwed him over. And so yeah, man, that was it. So even though Moose won a match, it is not good for him. It is not good for him because he is going up against Kenny Omega, man. He is going up against Kenny Omega, Kenny by God Omega. And Kenny Omega, I'm telling you, he is not losing that. He's not losing those titles. They call him the belt collector for a reason, man. He's here to collect all the gold. And nobody's gonna beat him. Nobody's gonna beat him for those championships. I don't care who you are. Nobody's beating him for the championships. Moose is my guy, man. Don't get me wrong, man. Don't get me wrong. Moose is my guy. He is my #1 guy in Impact Wrestling, but he is not. He is not beating Kenny Omega. I'm sorry, man. He's not. He's not gonna beat Kenny Omega. And so yeah, man. Moose, he needs to be a champion, man. He needs to win a championship. But him winning the Impact World Championship is not gonna happen. It should have happened. It should have happened years ago. But yeah. So yeah. Omega, he's not losing the title. He's not. But yeah, so it's gonna be Omega versus Moose. Heel versus heel. It's gonna be two heels going at each other for the championship. Heel versus heel matches don't work. They really don't. It really don't work. Somebody gotta play the babyface in that match. Somebody has to play the babyface in that match, and the other person gotta remain the heel. And so I'm guessing Moose would be the babyface in a match, but I'm not interested in seeing Moose as a babyface. He's more suited as a heel. But yeah, my question is, when is the match? When is the championship match? Is it gonna be at Slammiversary? Is it gonna be at AEW in their next pay-per-view? I doubt it. It's probably not gonna be on an AEW show. But I would love to see it on an AEW show, man. I would love to see Moose on AEW. Moose, Sami Callihan, all those people in Impact Wrestling, man, that are at the top of their division. I would love to see them in AEW, man. But yeah, I do see Sami Callihan getting involved in the match whenever the championship match is between Moose and Kenny Omega. I do see him getting involved in the match. I guess costing Moose or costing Kenny Omega the match or something like that, or it being a double disqualification. Because Sami Callihan, he felt that he was screwed over, and it should have been his moment and not nobody else's moment. You know, And then, right after you get involved in a match, it might be a triple threat match. It might be a triple threat match. And then, so yeah, it might be the right move to have Sami Callihan get involved in a match because I guess to protect Moose, so you don't have Moose losing clean. Because I'm telling you, man, anybody that stepped foot inside that ring with Omega, they would lose. They would lose clean. They would lose clean, and I don't want to see Moose lose clean. So I guess they're gonna bring Sami Callihan to get involved in the match to protect Moose from losing clean. And so yeah, man. So yeah, it might be at that Slammiversary show. Slammiversary is coming up. It is coming up, so it might be at Slammiversary, their next biggest pay-per-view. So yeah, so it most likely might be at Slammiversary. Moose versus Kenny Omega. And so yeah, that was it with that. You know, overall, man, it was decent. It was a decent show. You know, some of the matches I would have just kept off of the show and just put it on Impact Wrestling. You know, the show would have been more digestible if you would have just got those shows off the show. But yeah, man, it was a filler show. It was a filler show. They just wanted to get everybody on the show, but you can't do that, man. You can't do that. You just can't get everybody on the show. Only the people that deserve to be on a pay-per-view show should be on a pay-per-view show. If you want to be on a pay-per-view show, you should work your way up into a pay-per-view show. And so yeah, man. So yeah, man, that was it with Impact Wrestling, man. That was it with Under Siege. Impact Wrestling Under Siege, the pay-per-view for Under Siege 2021. The review for on the Ryan Awesome Show. And if you like this video, man, what are you waiting for, man? Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell so you'll be the first ones to know when my next video will come out because I'm here each and every single week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. You hit the thumbs up first. And you hit that subscribe button. And then right next to that subscribe button, right after you hit the subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on the bell. And in that way, you'll be the first one to know when my next video will come out. And so, yeah, man, follow me on Twitter at Ryan Awesome Show. And yeah, man. And I'll see you guys on Sunday for WrestleMania Backlash. WrestleMania Backlash. I'll see you guys on Sunday. And yeah, man, it's probably not going to be a good show. It's probably not going to be a good show because all we see is rematch after rematch after rematch. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. I'll still watch it. And I'll still review it. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. And if you guys missed my Impact Wrestling review, the video is going to be right up here. Either right up here or right here. One of these sides is going to be up here. And yeah, man. And once again, guys, man, thank you for the support, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you, and thank you. And this has been the Ryan Awesome Show. Take care, stay safe, and that's that.